on over there?
Okay, lady. Me, my dad, and my brother, we're working on a truck in our backyard, and we have a big lot outside, right? Correct?
Okay.
We were working, and we just see in a corner of our eye something fall down from the sky, and it was with light. And when it hit down, it was like a big impact, and we felt it. We felt like an energy, and then we hear like a lot of footsteps near us, and then we have a big equipment, and we see, and there's like an 8-foot person beside it, and another one beside it, and it has big eyes and it's looking at us, and it's still there.
Okay, where is this on your property?
In my backyard. And I swear to God, this is not a joke. This is actually we terrified of it.
So there's 2 people or 2 subjects that are in your backyard?
Correct, and they're very large. They're like 8 foot, 9 feet, 10 foot. I don't know. They look like aliens to us. Big eyes. They have big eyes, like I can't explain it. And big mouth. They're shiny eyes, and they're not human. They're 100% they're not human.
خورا ميكي كان تسباريت لي غاجينجي على تشورسي خورا توسي هاي
What you just listened to was the frantic voice of Angel Kenmore, a 17-year-old boy that works with his father out of their home on the outskirts of Las Vegas, Nevada. And the video afterwards is the reason for that phone call, because, believe it or not, there were allegedly not just 1, but 2 aliens in that video. And before you rewind to see if you'll catch it a second time, I'll save you a click and plainly say that there's not much to see. But that doesn't mean they're not there. On the contrary, experts and debunkers alike agree that the video is legit, with professional crime scene investigators confirming that there are indeed unknown entities present in that video. And I'll show you what technology they used to reach that conclusion, but before we do that, we're gonna have to go back to the very beginning to show you why the Las Vegas alien encounter is the scariest ongoing story to date. But first, what's up guys? My name's Andrew and I run the Scare Mail channel, and today I'm doing something a little different than what I normally do with my content. If you're familiar with my TikTok page and some of my other videos, you'll know that I've been trying to distance myself from alien and UFO content. After all, Scare Mail is a horror-based channel, and there are plenty of other scary stories that don't involve aliens. Not to mention I'd rather not grow out a ponytail like every other UFO quote-unquote expert and find myself as the next guest speaker on Ancient Aliens. And yet, I find myself circling back for one key reason. There's nothing scarier than a scary story that's true. Now, I'm not saying every alien encounter story you've heard is fact. After all, grifters exist and there are plenty of them trying to cash in on this very subject. However, there is a growing likelihood that the majority of these stories are actually real. The reason I say this is because just this week, there was another congressional hearing on UFOs and UAPs, with multiple high-ranking officials in the military, both current and former, disclosing encounters that they couldn't explain.
During this exercise, I received an email on Navy's secure network from the operations officer of U.S. Fleet Forces Command. The email was addressed to all the subordinate commanders, and the subject line read in all capital letters, "Urgent Safety of Flight Issue." The text of the email was brief but alarming, with words to the effect, "If any of you know what these are, tell me ASAP. We are having multiple near mid-air collisions." Attached to the email is what is now known as the Go Fast video. The now declassified video showed an unidentified object exhibiting flight and structural characteristics unlike anything in our arsenal. The very next day, that email disappeared from my account and those of the other recipients, without explanation.
We're met with people not wanting us to have hearings. We're met with people not wanting us to ask you questions. In fact, many of us were told not to ask some of you certain questions on certain topics.
UFOs hovering above military bases and government facilities, UAP crash retrieval programs conducted by the military, and even extensive cover-up operations to keep this under wraps. After all these strange happenings, suddenly a UFO falling out the sky and landing in a backyard in Nevada doesn't sound so far-fetched. In fact, it makes the whole ordeal incredibly disturbing, because next time it could be your backyard crawling with 8-foot tall aliens, But in this particular case, it's Angel's backyard. So let's get back on topic, shall we? This incident had more than its fair share of coverage. We have multiple videos capturing the supposed UFO falling out the sky the night of the incident. We have audio of the UFO crashing down into the yard. We have body camera footage of police officers meeting with the witnesses. And of course, we have the cell phone video of the first encounter, with the phone call that follows soon after. And yet, there's still plenty of unknowns about this incident, with the main ones being, where did the aliens go? And could this have actually happened? Well, I'll help try to answer those questions at the end of the video, so be sure to stick around to the end. Unfortunately, I only have access to the same information as you, but that doesn't mean we can't retrace our steps and fill in the blanks in dramatic scare mail fashion. So let's go ahead and do that. Forewarning, the following story is disturbing and just may keep you up at night. It's nearing midnight on May 1st, 2023, as Angel and his brother work on the engine of his pickup truck. It was already incredibly late, and it being a Monday, the two brothers were in a hurry to finish up and get to bed. But all of a sudden, they weren't so tired anymore, because what they see streaking across the sky overhead gives them a bit of an adrenaline rush. The two boys look up to see a green ball of fire passing closely overhead, and to make it even crazier, the ball of light crashes into their very backyard, a mere 50 yards from where they were standing. A loud shockwave sends the two brothers stumbling backwards. They look at each other in excitement. They can't believe what they're seeing, so of course they decide to get closer and get a better look at what just landed in their yard. Angel leads the way, eager to see what awaits them at the crash site. However, the closer they get to the spot, the weirder things become. Angel's vision becomes blurry all of a sudden. He realizes he can't make out what's in front of him, until a tall figure emerges before him. The figure is unusually large and distorted. He can't make out what it is. The only thing he can see are the creature's large black eyes. Angel freezes in fear, petrified at the mysterious entity standing before him. His brother quickly grabs him by the arm, dragging him inside in a panic. The two brothers frantically explain to the family what they had just seen. It's almost too unreal to believe, but based off their expressions of panic and fear, the father takes the situation seriously. He then arms himself and even hands additional firearms off to each of his two sons. One by one, Angel and his family step out of the house towards the back gate and stop just shy of it to assess the situation. This is when the video recording begins. At first glance, nothing seems out of the ordinary, so Angel's father asks his two sons to follow closely as they re-enter the backyard. Their eyes are glued forward as they move through the gate, shining their flashlights about until Angel's father stops dead in his tracks. About 40 feet from where they are standing lies an alien creature, distorted in the same unsettling way as before, leaning on one of their tractors. The family freezes and slowly step back in fear, but what they don't realize is that this isn't the only alien in the backyard. With their attention exclusively on the alien before them, the family fails to realize that another one approaches from alongside the gate. Inexplicably, the family never sees it coming. They only hear the sound of its heavy breathing and deep-rooted growl. This sends them all into a panic, as they quickly flee to the safety of their home before the video abruptly ends. Once Angel and his family are safely inside, he quickly dials 911, which is the call we heard from earlier. Being heavily religious, the family shelter in their home as they pray alongside one another, hopeful that whatever creatures stumbled upon them would leave them alone. They remain there for nearly 40 minutes until the police arrive at the scene. This is the officer's body cam footage from before.
Huh?
Did you see it?
Yeah, me and him saw it.
What'd you see?
It was like a big creature.
A big creature?
Yeah, like around 10 feet tall.
Because I'm not going to BS you guys. One of my partners said they saw something fall out of the sky too, so that's why I'm kind of curious.
As you can see, the family hysterically recounts the encounter to the officer, and to their surprise, the officer believes them. He states that his partner had seen the object streaking through the sky earlier, and admits that he was also curious about it. However, when investigating the backyard, the two officers find nothing out of the ordinary, aside from a perfectly symmetrical circle in the spot of the alleged crash. In the following months, Angel and his family were visited by the infamous Men in Black, who would drive by every now and then to scope out the location for anything unusual. Eventually, Angel and his family were confronted by the mysterious men, and yet, the contents of their conversation remain a mystery to this day. But those wouldn't be the only people to pay Angel and his family a visit. News crews and UFO hunters alike bombarded the Kenmores for the following year, with many attempting to break into the property. This led to the family having to add security cameras and warning signs to ward off intruders, but sadly, that didn't stop their continued harassment.
Attorney Sam Ryan Haydari represents the family.
They didn't want that publicity. The only thing they did, it was reporting it to the police.
You've talked to the dad and the mom and the two sons. Do you believe these people?
I believe that they believe that it was real.
Of course, all of this raises some very valid questions about what actually took place that night. In all the research that I've done for this case, not once did they mention a UFO. Angel mentions that a crash occurs and then all of a sudden there were aliens walking about. You mean to tell me two aliens superhero landed out of the sky with absolutely no impact crater?
Superhero landing! Yeah, that's really hard on your knees.
Sure, it could have been cloaked with their cloaking technology and perhaps it wasn't a crash but more of a landing, but that seems a little too convenient to believe. And not to mention that the cloaking explanation didn't arise until the video gained popularity. At first, Angel merely described them as being large, lanky aliens with greenish-gray skin and large black eyes. Only afterwards did Angel and the media cling to the idea of blurry cloaking technology. So which one is it? There's no real way of knowing because the Kenmore security camera for their backyard mysteriously went out the same time of the crash. Could be alien technology, could be a convenient cop-out. You decide. And honestly, the questions don't end there. A neighbor came out and claimed that his surveillance cameras also mysteriously shut off at the time of the incident. And yet, we have footage of a camera capturing the audio of the crash landing. But even that draws its questions. Like the crash happening at midnight when the audio captured is clearly in the late afternoon. And don't worry, I haven't forgotten about the crime scene investigators vouching for the footage. So let's take a look at what they found.
Artificial artifact added to it or not. And in this case, we can definitively say to a degree of scientific certainty that this entity, this thing in the video is there in the physical reality in which the Kenmore family is also there. Like, this is so critical because you can clearly see through the slots in the fence that there is a leg motion moving from the right to the left side of the screen. And clearly it is behind there. So this isn't just like a head floating in space. This is a head of that is somehow that does not have full opacity, that the opacity of the head of the shadow is only at about 33% opacity versus a normal shadow, which would be at 100% opacity, or an object in the screen, which is at 100%. And this isn't anything that you did. It's just what you were able to determine that this shadow being, or this being in the shadows, possibly creating its own shadow or smoky filter or cloaking technique.
I will say it is compelling footage. And yeah, maybe there is an entity standing right there. But they don't once mention the alien that is allegedly standing right in front of the three men by the tractor. The investigators are instead fixated on the blur in the corner of the screen. So yeah, could be an 8-foot-tall alien wearing cloaking technology, but again, that excuse didn't come until after. So, again, which one is it? Are there 2 aliens or just one? With so many questions, you always have to go back to the one telling the story. Angel. Who is Angel as a witness, and is he trustworthy? Well, to put it plainly, he's just a kid, and honestly, he's been grilled harder about this by more reporters than you can count. And their opinions on Angel reflect my own. He doesn't seem like he's lying. Now, that doesn't mean his story's true. It just means that Angel believes wholeheartedly what he saw that night. And interestingly enough, Angel doesn't seem to be trying to capitalize off the fame of this incident in the slightest. In just a couple months after he released the footage, Angel has amassed over 20,000 subscribers on YouTube. And take it from me, someone who has only gained 20 subscribers in the past 3 months, that is really hard to do nowadays. Angel could have easily huck-toed his way to a successful career in entertainment, and yet he and his family have completely shied away from the opportunity. In fact, Angel only has 2 videos on his YouTube channel. The original video with the footage and him recounting his experience, and a YouTube short uploaded nearly a year later thanking everyone for the thoughts and prayers. He also assured his audience that more content was coming in the near future, but that video was uploaded 7 months ago, and nothing new has been posted since. And on top of all that, Angel and his family plan on moving away from their home, claiming that the unwanted attention is becoming too much to handle. But that's not all he mentioned in his final interview with News Nation. He claimed that he has trouble sleeping at night, and even claims he's seen shadowy figures lurking about his home. He goes on to mention that he doesn't believe the creatures to be aliens anymore, but instead believes they are demons, shrouded in mystery as they haunt he and his family. Whatever they are, it's no secret that they've piqued the curiosity of millions of viewers, such as myself. It's important to remember that this tale is just one of many, with more harrowing stories popping up by the day as disclosure becomes more widespread and commonplace. And that's what makes these stories so frightening, the sheer possibility that they could be real. And if they are real, who knows what could be lurking outside your window at night? If they're anything like what Angel saw, well, then you'd never see them coming. They could be anywhere at any time. There could even be one next to you at this very moment. And that is why the Las Vegas aliens have never been scarier. Holy cow, you made it to the end of the video. That's incredible because that rarely happens around these parts. If you did happen to make it this far, go ahead and comment "too scared" down below on top of what you think about this case in this video, because I'd love to hear your thoughts. Just a reminder that if you like ghosts, aliens, mysteries, and other supernatural scary stories, feel free to subscribe to the channel to ensure that your scare mail continues to get delivered. I am but a tiny, humble channel, and every view makes all this grinding worth it. So thank you so much for watching. I'll see you guys next time. Good night.